Hello everyone, Andy with us for ESPN Scrum, talking with Growden, and we're previewing Super Rugby round 1. Greg, you're looking forward to this round, I reckon?
It is, yeah. No, it's interesting now. We'll take a while till we really know which teams are the strength of this competition. So my tip is this week, first up in competitions like this, go home team still. It's only around about round 3 or 4 where we really know. But still, I am tipping one shot.
Cool. And I think before we get into tipping those one shots, we have to talk about your sartorial elegance.
Like
looking wonderful.
Look respectable. Yeah, well, I've decided, big year, I'm going to try to look respectable and try to bluff people into looking as if I may know what I'm talking about. So don't get con too much.
We're just hoping that Sam Bruce is watching. Because obviously,
well, yeah, you don't want those string tights.
I probably will, yeah. And I do have to apologise that Sam's not on deck this week. That's purely my issue, a rostering problem. So you'll have the expert back on with you next week. Yeah. Enough of that, talking about the rugby. First game of the season, the Crusaders against the Rebels over in Christchurch. Crusaders traditionally slow starters, Greg.
They are, but I don't think that'll be the case this week. Crusaders are missing some players, but the Rebels, it's going to take a while for them to re-establish themselves. They've got some new players. So I think this will be a fairly comfortable win for the Crusaders.
Interesting. So in the second game, we've got the Brumbies against the Reds in Canberra. And that's, I mean, I think you're saying that's the game of the round.
Yeah, I think it is, because there's a lot of different elements there. You've got the possibility of Pocock coming back and how the Reds are going to play without Quade Cooper. And that's a big question. You know, Carmichael Hunt's name's been thrown up there. And that's... You know,
and he was impressive last week.
He was, but it's a big difference, trials, and first game of Super Rugby, Canberra Stadium against Brumbies, who are my smokies for the tournament. And they're going to be frothing to show that they can do something without Ben Moen, their captain from last year who's gone overseas. So I've got a feeling that despite all the excitement in the Reds and James O'Connor being back, I think the Brumbies might win this game fairly comfortably.
Okay. Lions against the Hurricanes in Johannesburg. Third game around. You wonder whether the Hurricanes, what they have to do to start the season in New Zealand. It's the second year on the bounce in South Africa. Well,
it's a tough draw for them, first up away from, and particularly a team like the Hurricanes, who often struggle at home and struggle away. They're very unpredictable. I know they're the favourites for this, but I'm going to go for the Lions. They showed quite a bit last year. They changed their complexion. They became more of an adventurous team. I don't think they're going to be as successful as they were last year, but I think first up, the Lions, bit of excitement at Joburg. I'm going to tip them to beat the Hurricanes.
Okay. So then we've got the Blues against the Chiefs at Albany. Now, I know you've tipped the Chiefs that they're going to win the whole thing. I'm tipping you're going to make them a winning start for the season against the Blues.
Yes, that might shock you, Andy, but yes, I think Albany, I know this is a big game, the rivals, the local rivals, and the Blues, they always this time of year promise a lot and fail. I know the Blues will probably get a lot of support from their local supporters, get a good crowd, but I just think the Chiefs, first up, will want to show something. Sonny Bill being there. Yep. I've just got a feeling this will be tight, but I've got a feeling that, the Chiefs, not by much, but will get up first up to really show that they're going to be a force this year.
Has to be said that they look pretty good against the Tars in the trial last week. I know they only had Sonny Bill of their All Blacks on deck, but they were good.
They were exactly. That was a very good last trial to have against the Waratahs. Very close, and you could see that they were keen to win. Going for a penalty goal in the last few minutes, sort of thing. So the winning means a lot to them. So a tight one, but the Chiefs will go for that.
So again, I guess another game in South Africa, the Sharks against the Cheetahs in Durban. Sharks, surely. Surely, because
they have got a dream run. They've got heaps of home games early on. They don't travel away till May. And the problem with the Cheetahs is the Cheetahs have lost a lot of players. They've lost Strauss, who's a big who kept their pack.
They're lucky to have a team together, really.
Oh, exactly. So I think Sharks first up and a new coach, and I think this could be a walkover, an absolute walkover.
The Bulls against the Stormers. Now, I've got a bit of a feeling the Bulls are going to be quite a decent team this year. They make a winning start, do you reckon?
Yeah, I think so. Same way. The Bulls... No, the Stormers, without De Villiers, have lost a little bit. Again, the Bulls, they will threaten this year, and Loftus is a tough ground to win at, away team. So, I'm going to go the Bulls.
And do you think there's any sense if the Stormers they might be, I guess, improved by the news that Alistair Coetzee is going at the end of the year? That's going to be a momentum?
I'd say so, because, sometimes, he's been there a fair while and really hasn't done much. So that can actually have an interesting effect on players. Players might think, well, we better start trying to impress someone. We don't know who at the moment, but it's with the coach going, that does sometimes... coaches knowing they're going to leave, if it haven't been successful, can really galvanise the team and make them play better. So you are right. That could be interesting to see what happens there. So, but still, first up, I can't see them winning.
Brings us to the final game of the round, Sunday afternoon in Sydney. We've been talking about the potential for a big crowd, the Tars against the Force, reigning champions. Do you think they're going to get anywhere close to a full house?
It's going to be interesting because you've got the Cricket World Cup starting, which is going to, might distract a bit of people away. But you're right. This will be an interesting gauge of where the Waratahs have actually held on to a lot of their supporters who were there at the final, because there's a fantastic 60,000 plus finals crowd there, and you had all these newfound fans, and this is a real clue. And everything's in their favour for a big crowd. 4 p.m. on Sunday, perfect, perfect for families, and hopefully it's going to be a sunny day. Yeah, so I think they're looking maybe 25. I think people are saying 30,000, and it all depends who they play. If they play all the guns, I think you'll get a good crowd, and if they play all the guns, they will have a big win, because the Force without Matt Hodgson, they've lost half their heart.
Yeah, it's a big loss for them, isn't it?
Like Chris Alcock's a good player, and they've got a good pack, but he has been able to save them so much, and he's required in the big games, these big duels against the other Australian provinces. Without him there, I just can't see the Force even getting close.
Yeah, wow, big call. I mean, it was again at the trial last week. It was interesting to see the Tars. They looked good in the set piece.
Yeah.
Jack Potgieter in particular at 6. He was played as a second row last year mainly. He was fantastic against the Chiefs.
Well, he's going to be one of the most important players, and he's going to really determine whether how far the Waratahs go, because he was such a big influence last year. And if he can get straight into his stride, you can say, well, the Waratahs could be the first Australian team to win 2 in a row. My concern is that he could be forced to take a lot of Kane Douglas's responsibility, may lose a bit of his impact there as an impact player. And also another person who's very important there is Will Skelton. Will Skelton, he has to really pick up this year and take up a lot of the slack from Douglas. So those guys are important, and this first game will be interesting. But I think with Hodgson there, you should see those big Waratah forwards even be more of a steamroller effect on the game.
So wrapping up, and Greg's tips for round 1 are the Crusaders, the Brumbies, the Lions, the Chiefs away, Sharks, the Bulls, and the Waratahs. Get your tips in on www.footytips.com.au, and we've got a great competition, Greg. You can challenge the great man here. Sam Bruce, myself, Brett McKay.
If you think we're idiots, here's your chance to prove it.
Exactly. And our competition is ESPN Scrum Super Stars. Enter your tips each and every week for multiple chances to win the great participation prize that we've got, which is a all expenses paid travel package to Auckland for the Bledisloe Cup test.
Yeah, we'll even bring you back.
And then I guess, Greg, each week, news, views, columns on espnscrum.com for all the coverage of Super Rugby and the Six Nations.